that was a surreal moment to get that victory in that hostile environment.
Out of all the places you've been to, what's been your favorite?
The game changed, but they don't want to accept it. The players are better. They don't want to accept it. For someone to tell me in school by being in computer class that I'm a top 60 player in the country, from being unranked to being never ranked ever, like, it was special.
What's up, guys, and welcome to a new episode of Timeout with Sko. I am here with a special guest, Javontae Hawkins. He is a former top 100 recruit out of his class. He was an all-state player his junior year. He then committed to South Florida, where he started his college journey, and then he ended up playing at Eastern Kentucky as well as Fordham University, and he has now played professionally with 6 different teams in Germany and France, to name a few, and he was a FIBA Champions League champion in 2023. So thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate you being here.
Thank you for having me.
No doubt.
Honored to be on here.
Talk to me a little bit about your journey growing up in Flint. What that looked like for you and how you got started with basketball.
Growing up in Flint, it definitely was I would say, blue-collar city, with General Motors being like the top headline, where it was plenty of jobs where people could have. And then when they took General Motors away, a lot of poverty, a lot of crime started to happen in Flint. So I seen kind of like the best of both worlds, the uprising and the downfall of Flint. But growing up, we had guys like Glenn Rice, Mateen Cleaves, Charlie Bell, Morris Peterson. List goes on and on. You know, Jeff Grayer, those guys, they inspired me to play basketball at a young age. Didn't really start organized until I was around 12, 13. But I always loved the game, and those guys, especially with Mateen and Charlie Bell and Morris Peterson and Antonio Smith winning the national championship at Michigan State in 2000. That was a big inspiration because it was 4 guys from the city of Flint that was on that team. And it's just been a huge inspiration for me to continue on and to hopefully be where they were. So,
what age did you start playing basketball?
I started, I would say, at probably around the age of 10, and I really fell in love with the game, I would say, in 8th grade, so I was 13. So I really started at 10, but really fell in love with the game at 13. I knew I wanted to be a pro at 13.
And when did you actually think that was a possibility for yourself?
I would say my junior year of high school. When I went, I think it was the King James Classic. I went down there on my AAU team. I was unranked going into my senior year. So I was a junior going into my senior. I was unranked. I had a lot of offers, mid-major, high major, low major, but I was just always that unranked kid that would, that could peak. And I had a great tournament in the King James Classic, and I went from being unranked to top 60 in the country. And I think that really motivated me, and that's when I knew I was on the scene. So
I think that's so cool. My brother, who played professionally, he, going into his senior year, also had 0 offers. Okay. And he ended up playing with Pump and Run at a tournament in Vegas. Right. The big tournament everybody goes to in Vegas. And, he was on the team with Dwight and Jared Dudley, and the gym was packed. And my brother was always a pass-first guard, and I remember him, being in the gym that day and being ready to go, and they ended up winning that tournament. Okay. And he played really well and ended up having offers from every school in the country. Yeah. So I think that shows, one, how valuable AAU basketball can be in some ways, but it's also cool to hear somebody else's story who has, some of those similar experiences.
Yeah, and it's night and day too. Literally, it changed in over a weekend. I didn't even know it like one of my friends in school, he just told me, I guess he was in computer class, and he always look at the rankings because they like Dave Tellup used to update them like every Monday. So he looked at the rankings, and during school, he sent me a message on Facebook and like, oh, bro, you rank like number 60 now in the country. And I didn't even know. Like, so it's just crazy how social media plays a part in it now. How the technology is like, for someone to tell me in school by being in computer class that I'm a top 60 player in the country, from being unranked to being never ranked ever, like, it was special. But it just lit a fire under me to keep going. So
at that point, so now you're top 60 in the country.
Mm-hmm.
From there, when do you make a decision on where you want to commit, and why do you choose South Florida?
Now, so I was still in Flint when I was my junior year. So that summer, I transferred to Huntington Prep, actually, going into my senior year before I committed to South Florida. So I committed to Huntington Prep first. So I left to go to prep school for my senior year as a top 100 recruit. And I think that was probably a more difficult experience for me than going to college, because I was still in high school and I was still young. I was 16, 17. And at first, like, my dad was like, no, you're not going to prep school. Like, they can see you here, they can see. But I just felt that I dominated the competition in Michigan. Like, I wasn't going to get better. So that's why I went to Huntington Prep and played it alongside like Andrew Wiggins, Elijah Macon, Xavier Rattan-Mays, Negus Webster, like all those guys were like top 20, top 10 guys, in their class. And I wanted to be surrounded by that, because nobody on my team in Michigan went to go even play college, So me committing to that first helped me prepare for South Florida, who was in the Big East at the time.
What's interesting is that nowadays you see a lot of kids play down, essentially, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're reclassing, and instead of playing up, they're playing down.
Yeah.
And so I think it's a testament to your journey, how important it is to get that experience against guys that are also top 100 recruits. Yeah. And talk about how that sort of kind of segued and helped you at the next step in your journey, which is college.
I think it helped me a lot because my dad always told me, even like when I was young, like, never play to the level of your competition. Like, if your competition is not as good as you still crush them. Like, as if you were playing somebody that was as good as you or even better. So you still play as hard until that buzzer sounds. So I always had that mindset, and even going to Huntington Prep and then going to South Florida, it helped me out even more, because when I went to South Florida as a freshman, I feel like I was ahead. I felt like from a physical standpoint, like the seniors wasn't pushing me around. Like, I just felt like I was ready, athletic-wise. I think mentally I had a lot more work to do, but athletic-wise I was at the top of the charts coming in my freshman year.
So you started at South Florida, and you kind of transferred before transferring was really a thing.
Yeah.
So why did you decide to transfer? And do you think that if you had to choose to do it over, would you have still made those same decisions?
That's a good question, because I transferred because I think it was a lot of promises being made and they wasn't fulfilled from the coaching. But I also feel that I kind of shot myself in the foot because of those promises being made. I would have an attitude, or I would just always be out trying to prove myself in a way that should have been more positive, I felt like I needed a new scenery. So that's why I decided to transfer. I called one of my friends from Flint, Glenn Cozy, who went to Eastern Kentucky. They were coming off a NCAA tournament run, a close game against Kansas. They almost made the Sweet 16. Lost to Kansas by like 6. And I said, man, bro, I need a new school. And he literally called his Coach Jeff Neubauer and Coach Rodney Crawford, and said, like, hey, I got this guy from Flint that looking for a new school. Went on a visit, committed on the visit. And East Kentucky was my next stop, but I had to sit out a year, so.
What year were you at Eastern Kentucky?
I set out the year 2014, 2015, and I played the 2015, 2016 season.
What's crazy is that I was at Transy during that time, which is like, I don't know, 30 minutes from Kentucky, 30 minutes from Eastern Kentucky, which is pretty interesting.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
I didn't know that until you just said that.
Yeah, that's crazy because Richmond, because Richmond is by like Lexington.
Yep.
And all, okay.
Okay, so you went to Eastern Kentucky, and then from there, then what?
When I went to Eastern Kentucky, so I set out that year, and they had a really good year my sit out year. So I played. I was actually sitting out and I played against the team. So I was on scout team, So it was like weird, but I had a mindset. Like my mindset was like it was almost kind of like crazy because like I have like a manager, and we'd be in the gym like at probably like at 5 a.m, 4 a.m. Sometimes I call him at 2 a.m. Like, yo, bro, like come to the gym, like let's get a workout in, and that was like my whole sit out year. I was doing that every day. Like I didn't take no days off, like unless it was like the weekend and I was tired. But like literally like 5-6 times a day. Like I'm calling him, and we working out, and then I'm going to class. Then I got practice. And I was doing that every day. And then that next year, when I became eligible, like that was my best year. Like, and I had some really highlighted years against like University of Kentucky. I had like 20 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists on ESPN. West Virginia, I had like 17 and like 6 rebounds. So it was like the work showed. So, and I averaged like 17 and 5 and like 3. And it was just one of those life-changing moments to my career. And now I felt like I was back on that path to becoming a pro. And from there, went on to Fordham. I followed the coach and went on to Fordham. So
I didn't ask you this earlier, but something that just came up was, when we're in college, we have a lot more resources than we do, as a young kid in high school. How are you able to still work on your game as a young athlete with maybe less resources? What did that look like for you?
It just took me back to growing up in Flint, when I didn't have as many resources, when I would just go to the Y, or when I would go to a place called Burston Fieldhouse. Sometimes the net would be broke or something like that. So I just or sometimes there's no net, or being outside. So I just channel that in my mind, and I just grind because I don't want to go back to that, So I'm gonna use whatever resources I have to be able to one day have the resources that I can have on my own. So, and it was times where, because it wasn't, when I was at East Kentucky, it wasn't 24-hour access like I was at South Florida. Like I went to a mid-major, so it was like I had a key, an actual key, instead of a key card. And sometimes I didn't know how to turn the lights on. I'm shooting in the dark, stuff like that. Sometimes the lights were broke. So it was that, and it humbled me too. It made me humble, it made me hungry. So I think that was the best thing that happened for me though.
What's interesting is how on the West Coast, we're so spoiled, right? Like going to work out outside is not ideal for most kids, but it's doable, right? We don't really get below 50 degrees here. Yeah. And so it's not cold, right? You're not freezing cold. Right. There's so many parks within a small area. And so I think it's just a testament to just kind of what we were talking about off camera, just that grittiness that people from Flint sort of embody from that environment. So, okay, so now you're at Fordham, you finish school. At what point do you decide, hey, like, I'm going to start pursuing basketball after college?
Literally, like, my last game, it was against George Mason. We lost in the A10. I think it was like the quarterfinals or something like that, the second round. And I just was like, all right, it's time, you know. And obviously, my goal was NBA, NBA, NBA. That's all I knew. And so I had an opportunity with the New York Knicks for the Summer League. And last minute, they called me last minute. The scout called me because I had a personal relationship with the scout. Like, he was from Michigan, so I knew him. He's an older guy, and I just been knowing him since I was a kid. And he said, all right, I got you on the roster, this, that, and the other. We're going to fly you in. Then next day, literally next day, he said, we got to go a different direction. We picking somebody older who happened to be like a big bro vet to me, which is Dominique Jones, who played at University of South Florida, like 5 years before I got there. And I was like, I couldn't be mad at that, you know, but I was like mad, but I was like, because I'm like, man, this is the only opportunity, but I couldn't be mad at it. So then now I just started reaching out, and then I got with an agent. I didn't know nothing about the agent business. I just signed with somebody because I wanted to play. Now I'm starting to pursue overseas. So I signed with an agent, and he put me in Finland. Yeah, Finland, Salo, Finland. So that was my rookie year, and like from there, that was the journey. That's where the journey started, in Finland, Salo, Finland.
So what did you learn in your first couple years as a pro, and how different was being a pro from now being a college player?
I think I learned patience, but I also learned, again, like humility, like how to be humble and everything, because sometimes things don't pan out how you see it. Because growing up, always, being a lottery pick, like, I'm going to University of Kentucky, I'm going to Duke, I'm going to North Carolina, you know, like you count down, like in the backyard, like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, shoot. So like when that thing didn't happen, like hearing my name called or getting drafted or playing summer league, I like had to really like sit with it. And I just learned how to be patient, and that my time will come for whatever the case may be. And just being humble about everything, because some things don't go your way. And I would say, like, for the younger generation, I would say just have a mentor, somebody that can help you with things not only on the court but off the court. Like, just having somebody to talk to, and I didn't have that, you know, as far as like what I was like going overseas and picking an agent. I didn't really have that. So I think that those are the main three things.
What I really enjoy about having you around at workouts is exactly what you just said, that mentorship and that leadership.
Yeah.
And I've watched you sort of mentor and lead some of my other players. What sort of made you passionate about being a mentor towards the next generation?
I think because like I said, like Mateen Cleaves, he's like the closest person to me as far as a mentor. I think having him when I was young, just picking me up, like having an NBA player picking me up from my house and, you know, taking me to go work out, taking me to get some food afterwards and giving me like life lessons. I think having that, like that NBA player that I could touch growing up, wanted me to pass the torch. And I just don't want to be that bitter old head, you know, like that, the game changed, but they don't want to accept it. The players are better, they don't want to accept it. Like, and I just like to see young people thrive. Like, I love to see a project grow. And like how we was talking about Zay. Like, just seeing him grow, and like I just love to see that. And because I knew I was a project at one point, and people invested and took the time for me. So that's really like why I enjoy like mentorship.
I love that. All right, so talk to me about the differences now that you've experienced as far as the game of basketball itself, being a pro in your first couple years.
Yeah. The game was different. So I got like a culture shock first practice, like travel. Like, oh, you stepped out of bounds. Oh, you not in this right position. Like, so it was like frustrating. And like me, I like to get everything right the first time. I don't like when people have to correct me like at that age. And so it was times where I was on a team with I can't remember his name, but he went to the University of Florida. And me and him were like on the same, he was 6'5", I'm 6'5". Like, so it was, and overseas they cut you quick. So at one point we both were stepping out of bounds. We both were rookies. We both were traveling. And that open step is, you can't do that. Like, you got to put the ball down. So then at one point, they just didn't know who to play because we both was doing the same thing. And this when I found out like I'm in a different ball game, different business. When I had a good game and I just started shooting, instead of like driving or traveling or thinking about, I just started shooting the ball. And the coach would be like, I miss it. I miss probably 5 in a row, coach. And then the other guy come in, he travel, step out of bounds. And when they cut him after that game and kept me, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm in a different, like, this is a different type of culture. And like, so I just, and that, from that point forward, I just kept a straight and narrow, and I just wanted to be a learner.
I think that's so important to share because a lot of times, you know, I hear a lot of my guys that are coming out of college and they're like, hey, I'm going to go play overseas. And they don't realize how difficult it is and how much transition there actually is between the game that, you know, takes time to sort of adjust and learn. For you specifically, you played, right? Now, talk about during that first couple years, what was the most pivotal point during that time that sort of helped you get some of these like bigger contracts, some of these bigger assignments on teams?
So that's a good question too, because a lot of people have things misconstrued when they talk about overseas. Like, oh, I want to go over there and I want to average 20 or 30. Like, no, that's not the case. You can average 30. You can get cut the next day if you're on a losing team. Like, and if you're on a winning team, nobody's averaging 30 on a winning team. So, like, I really felt like that I had to find my niche in rebounding, playing defense, and taking advantage, using the advantages on offense. When I got a smaller guy, I'm not settling. I'm going in the post. I'm trying to draw a foul so he can get out the game. Or if I got a bigger guy, I'm driving the basket. You know, if I got a guy sagging off me, I'm using my pull-up. So it's like I had to literally learn like time to score. I had to learn how to be assertive, how to be used. Sometimes it's not going to be my night. Sometimes the coach need me to guard, and I have to accept that. And that will give you bigger contracts. Now, that's just the individual thing. You have to win. So winning games gets you bigger contracts. You can average 5 points and win the domestic league or win a European championship. You will get a bigger contract the next year. Like, and I've been fortunate to never miss the playoffs out of 8 years. Like, I never missed the playoffs. So, and that's rare. So I would say winning and doing your job.
What's crazy is here it's completely opposite, right? Like, all of these guys want to score 30, 40, 50 points a game. And, you know, those are the guys here that are getting looked at.
Yeah.
But I also think to some capacity, like, there's a ceiling to that. And just statistic-wise, not everybody's going to make it professionally at the NBA level. And so in that circumstance, you're going to have to figure out how to play and how to be effective within a team setting. And I think winning is something that's so overlooked, but is so valued in Europe everywhere you go.
Yep.
Something else that also comes up for me is just the lifestyle changes that are different from sort of being in the States to being overseas. Talk about how those changes sort of impacted you, what things that you experienced, and what challenges you went through along your journey just being away from home.
I mean, well, I would say I think I got like a head start on being away from home early, like, so I was excited to leave the States for the first time. I was nervous at first, like, cause you would look out or look on the monitor and see that you're right over the ocean. So I'm like, oh no, this is crazy. Like, that was my first experience, and I was like, no, this is crazy. And you can't call nobody to, like, if you panicking or something, like, so it was crazy. That was the most craziest part. But as far as like just going into a new journey, I was excited every time. So I never really was homesick until like my 6th or 7th year, when I felt like I was just over there too long and I just came back so late. But other than that, like, I embrace it. I embrace the journey. I embrace every new culture. I don't know the languages, but I embrace it. You know, like, I try to pick up, like, oh, what this word mean, or something like that, like, to my teammates that's from there. But, yeah, I embrace it. Like, I love it. Like, so I really never had no issues with adjusting or anything, so.
And when you first started, what did the resources look like for you as far as the teams that you were a part of? As far as your physio, your access to gym, your strength and conditioning, you know, your weight room, things like that?
I would say everybody is different. Everybody has an opinion. Like, some things, I think that probably was the only thing that was different, because some things I'm used to with my physio here, and they would say, no, that you do this, like if you tweak an ankle or something like that. But it's also some things I, let my guard down and I picked up from them and I brought back over here. And so I think doing that helped a lot. And like with coaches, I think at first it was difficult because I'm so used to playing a certain way. I'm used to just being aggressive nonstop. And sometimes coaches be like, instead of just driving into the paint, play off 2, kick it out, do that. And sometimes I'll be like, I think I could dunk over like when you young and you think you could dunk over everybody, like and then you getting charges and stuff like that. So I think that was different from learning something from here. I think the fans are different. Like when it comes to, like, the Greek fans are different from German fans. Like, Greek fans, they want to fight you. Like, German fans more laid back, chill. Russian fans, they want to fight you sometimes, But it's different. Like, so, I think every country is different, but I think it's a lot of similarities too.
So, you've now played overseas for several years. I want to say 2020 is when you got injured.
Yep, 2020. Yep.
So talk about that moment for you, getting injured and then the process of recovery to come back and play.
That year was probably like it was the weirdest year, like, because obviously that was COVID. That was the year Kobe passed, and that was like it was the year of my wife and I's wedding, and we couldn't have a wedding. We had to have a private wedding because of COVID. So it was like leading all the way up to my injury, it was the weirdest year ever. like weird, just weird. Like, and then but I was also coming off my best year too. Like, so I was coming off my best year. I was coming off the Clippers actually had me on the summer league, like but COVID happened, so it was no summer league that year. So I was coming off my best year, and then for them to continue to say that they're going to follow up with this year coming up, I was excited. So it was weird, but it was just a lot. Like, I felt like for me, my career, it was on the uprise, and it was October. I can't remember the date, but it was the last preseason game against the coach I played for the previous year, who was actually the new head coach in Memphis Grizzlies. I tore my ACL, like going into halftime, trying to make a play, a 1-2 stop, guy on the side of me. And I was in denial at first. Like, I was like, I just hyperextended it. I'll be good. I screamed. I got up, walked off, limped a little bit. Like, I'll be good. Then I was like, nah. The next morning, I woke up. Knee was this big. Yep, I know it is. Go to MRI. Torn ACL. So now I'm out for the year, and that recovery process was brutal.
Was that your first ever major injury?
First ever major injury.
That's a tough one.
Like, and it was tough because I had to be mentally tough more than physically. And it was like one of them times, like, I felt like it was like depression going on. Like, I felt a lot of anxiety. Like, I was just out of it. Like, because like I want to be on the court, and now I got to sit out a whole year. And now the Clippers, they telling me, oh, just get better and we'll follow back up. And it's like, I already been lied to plenty of times before, So it's like, I felt like I had hope for myself, but I also I felt like in reality, I didn't have hope because I feel like some people would look at me like, oh, no, he's not going to be the same, this, that, and the other. So it was just a long process, like a year process, literally. A year process. Were
you out there the entire time? Or did you come back home upon injury? What did that look like?
I rehabbed out there with their physios because Germany is definitely one of the best, or if not the best, to do any knee surgery or anything. So actually the doctor that did my surgery, he was on the staff that worked with Kobe when Kobe went over there. So I was in good hands, and I did my physical therapy there the whole time. Then I came back when the team went to the playoffs. I came back probably like after the first round of their playoff run, and rehabbed here. So,
what was the hardest part about that rehab process? I've been through ACL, so I have a general idea of what that looks like. But for you, what was the hardest part of that process, and how long did it take for you to really feel like yourself again? Because sometimes we can be cleared, but we still don't really feel like ourselves. Yeah. What did that look like?
I would say like when you're rehabbing and you feel like, oh, like you had a good week, and then the next week be trash. Like you feel horrible. You feel like your knee hurting. You feel like, and then that goes on for 2 more weeks, and then the next week you feel good again. Then you feel like you digressing because your knee feeling sore. Like, so it's like I feel like that was probably the worst because I'm like, man, I feel like I'm gonna be good, but then another week come, like, man, I don't have it this week. So I think that was probably the most taxing thing I had to go through because that was a year-long process. Like, even after you're cleared, I still was doing the same stuff. And sometimes I would be sore, but and then, like, coming back, when I really felt like I was back, I think it was a practice when I signed the next year. So I signed with my coach from Finland. So I signed with him again. So I played for him the year before the injury, and he said he was getting a new job with a team in Germany. And I signed, and he said he believed in me. He said that he want me on the team, and he want to sign me. And he was really the only team that really reached out, and that was just a blessing. And I signed there, and I think I really felt, and I still wasn't all the way myself because I still was baby in my knee. But it was one practice, I just went baseline and I dunked, and I said, "Oh, I'm back." Because it was I dunked on somebody that was 6'8", 6'9". I'm "Oh yeah, I'm back." And from there on out, I never had no thoughts or anything. I think it just took that one highlight play, and I just felt good from there.
I definitely, I can't attest to the dunk, never dunked, but I definitely understand just that one play meaning so much. Because I think the biggest part of injury is the mental portion of it, especially for an injury of that magnitude, right? I think the physical part, right, pushing yourself to do the exercises and to do the things that hurt, I think is the easy part actually along the journey. The mental part of, just like what you said, having 2 good days or 2 good weeks, and then it's you've done everything the same, and now this week you just feel horrible, or you try to progress, and then you're like, dang, now I'm really sore and I can't even do the things that I need to progress. So now I'm stuck at a plateau here for another couple weeks until the soreness rubs off. And so I get that. I definitely get it. It's a tough injury.
It is.
But you had the injury. You got signed to a team the next year. What did that season amount to?
Success. It was like a thank you God season, because I literally walked into familiar faces with the coach and the assistant coach, because I played for both of them, with them being head coaches, and they were brothers. And former teammates was on the team, 3 former teammates of mine that were on the team. So I had a lot of familiar faces. And they embraced me. They took their time with me, even when I wasn't cleared to play some of the games. And the organization may probably be impatient with my process. My teammates and my coaches were very patient. So I really am thankful to be in that type of environment with them. So, but as far as individual, I was on the team with Parker Jackson Cartwright, who you know, and who's from here. Me and him was we started clicking literally, I think in June. In January. We started really clicking in January, where we was just one game we both had 30. Then in the playoffs we were clicking too. And I think he averaged 19, I averaged 16 that year. So we was that 1-2 punch that year, and we lost to Bayern Munich, and we lost to them in the second round. In game 5, it was a 5-game decision. So we lost to them 2-3, and I think that at one point that game against them was the highest rating of basketball being watched at that time, while the NBA was going on and everything. Everybody was locked in on that game, and I think that helped a lot of success for me, for Parker, for my coach, and it was just an overall successful year coming off that injury.
And this is season 21-22.
Yes.
Okay, so now you're at season, is it 22-23?
Yep, 22-23.
And this is the year that you win?
Yeah, so I started off in France. So I signed a 2-year deal in France, and it was Basketball Champions League. But things didn't go so well in France with the team, as far as on the court. So I was looking for a new scenery. I just don't do well with losing, really, and it just things weren't clicking, and me and the GM, we had a great relationship, still got a great relationship. So I went to him and told him that I want to move on, and I went back to my old team in Germany, the team I played for the previous year. And that's when we made a run. They were playing Champions League too, and one of the guys that I replaced when I transferred teams, he was injured. He was out for the year, and he was a wing, and they really needed a wing. And my coach was so surprised that I wanted to come there. He's like, wait, what? Like, you're doing fine in France. But I was like, nah, I want to be a part of something special. And we just destroyed the Champions League. Like, we just went on a crazy run, like, and got the champion. Like, I think we beat Hapoel Jerusalem. We beat them in the finals, like, which was a hard fought final. Like, I never seen so many fans, like, not even just rooting against you. Like, oh, Hawkins, you suck. Like, like, so it was just like, that was a surreal moment to get that victory in that hostile environment. So.
Now, you mentioned this a little bit in what you just said about sort of wanting to be a part of a winning sort of culture.
Yeah.
Champions League, for those that don't know, arguably is the second best league in Europe, which is a huge accomplishment. For you personally, how are you deciding what team that you want to go to? And what I mean by that is a lot of people, they either value, where am I going to be able to excel and grow as an individual, right? Or where am I going to be able to win? Yeah. And usually players are having to make a decision between both, right? It's very fortunate to be able to get to go to a place where both of those things exist. So how do you make those decisions for yourself as a professional?
I think first, you have to have some type of good character, because your name travels more than your game. So first and foremost, a coach is going to ask, what type of person is he? Like, does he work hard? Does he pout? Does he get mad when things don't go his way? So I think if your name is good, I think you have, like, the ball in your court for the most part. But for me, like, I look at the rosters. I look to see, like, what type of person they are, because some of them could be head cases. Like, it could be your friend you play with in college who play on the team, and you want to play with him, but he a head case when things don't go. But you can't go there if you want to win. If you want to be like, oh, I'm playing with one of my friends, like, cool. But if you want to win, like, you got to, like, see where you fit in. I look at rosters before I think about signing. I ask older players, like, how was this coach? Like, before I sign. So, and I think, again, like, the mentorship I think if you have an agent that's a good mentor, I think that plays a part, that has you in his best interest. I think that plays a part as well, because sometimes agents can steer you in the wrong direction because of, sometimes because, I'm going to keep it real, because of an agent fee they get. They might steer you in the wrong direction. So I think just having the right agent is key as well. So, but I try to take my time. And also, my wife helps me out a lot too. She be on the phones when I'm on the phone with the GM, she right there with me. When I'm on the phone with the other coach, like, just to make sure, like, I'm going to be comfortable. And, like, if I'm comfortable, she's comfortable, like, we're good. So that's how I make my decision.
Now, you played 8 seasons total overseas. Having played 8 seasons, do you value one over the other? And did that change, or was that different when you first started? Was it more important for you to be a part of an organization where you were going to get more stats because that would help you, secure an offer? Or was it still, of most importance to you to be somewhere where you could win? Does that change throughout?
It can change, but I feel like for me, if I'm winning, I feel like I'm going to affect the game. So I don't really think about the stats. Like, for example, I played for, like I mentioned earlier, Thomas Isolo, who's the new head coach at Memphis Grizzlies. I played for him for 3 years. Like, and I played for his brother for 1 year. So I played for somebody of that type of system for 4 years out of 8 years. So half of my career, I know a certain system. And I wasn't always the guy in his system. I was the guy in his system probably for 2 years. 2 out of the 3 years I played for him. And the year I came back to him to win Champions League, he wanted me to, he set me down and said, like, I want you to be a leader. I want you to be like our glue guy. I want you to be like our guy, somebody we can, that can defend, that needs to get a stop or anything. So I was just really like a Andre Iguodala type person on that run, that championship run. Like, because I did the intangibles.
You're the X factor.
Yeah, I played like literally 1 through 4. You know, I'm setting screens, using screens, like, you know, and I wasn't the guy that had the ball in my hands all the time because we had TJ Shorts for that. And we see, like, he's doing phenomenal things, you know. So I like with that, like, me and him had a mutual respect and a genuine relationship. So everybody don't, like, accept that type of role. You know, I'm not going to be a 20-point scorer. I averaged like 9 points or something like that in that championship run. And the year before, I averaged 16. So, but same result, winning. So it's like, it's all about the fit too, like the players around you too.
So you played that season, you won that year.
Yeah.
Then did you have an opportunity to go back to the same team, or was that opportunity not there? And why did you choose to go to, I want to say you went to a team in Russia.
Yeah,
afterwards.
Russia. So with that situation, so he went to Paris basketball. So he transferred teams, the coach did, and they didn't really have like a big budget. So it was like, and then he was taking the younger guy. He kept it real with me, like he wanted to groom them like how he groomed me, like as far as like teaching them how to be assertive at the wing or even at being a guard or even being a forward. So he had 2 guys that were 6'5", Colin Malcolm and Tyson Ward. Like they were literally his projects when I was his project, like my 3rd year coming out. So it was kind of like a bittersweet moment because I wanted to go, but then it was like, it's not enough room for me because he has to bring those guys in to keep them connected, and it's not enough money in the budget. So I went to Russia, and I think Russia, it was like, that was a learning experience for me because it was obviously a different league, different culture, and it was just a different team, overall vibe. But we got to the playoffs. You know, that's the main goal. Like, we got to the playoffs. It was the 8th seed, got to the playoffs. I think it was an inconsistent year, but it was like real steady. It wasn't, we didn't get too high, we didn't get too low. So it was real steady. But it was a good experience for me, though. Like, it was a great experience.
Out of all the places you've been to, what's been your favorite to play at?
My favorite to play, like as far as like arenas or just like a team?
Both. Both.
All right, favorite arena, I would say Panathinaikos.
Okay.
I was like, besides it smelling like cigarettes, like other than that, like it smelled like cigarettes, like, but Panathinaikos is my favorite arena. Favorite team was Germany, Telekom Bomb Baskets, for sure. You know, that's where I won my first European championship. And yeah, like it's like I'm kind of like, it's kind of like when you win in Bonn, you get the keys to the city type thing. Like when we won, we had like a parade, went to the mayor's office, signed a little book that will always be there. So it's like, that'll always have like a special place in my heart. So yeah.
Is your goal this upcoming year to get back into Europe? I know that you just played in China for a little bit, got hurt.
Yeah.
Now, where do you see yourself going next?
I feel like wherever, for me, I want to play in Europe again, for sure. I I definitely want to get back in Europe. I kind of missed it sounds crazy, but I kind of missed the 9-10 month seasons. Like, Russia was like 6 months, 7 months. China's like, they're literally going into playoffs, but it was a good experience though. Like, the fans in China, they were amazing. My teammates were amazing. Coaches were amazing. I had an injury that I got to rehab now and, get back for next season. But I'm definitely looking forward to going back to Europe. Like, I do want to go to Europe. I always wanted to play in Italy. I always wanted to play in Israel. And it's another country that Spain. So I haven't played them in them 3 countries yet. Like, so I'm looking forward to one of them calling me.
So you've been playing for 8 years.
Yeah.
How much longer you got? You're getting old now. You're a vet.
Yeah, I'm a vet now.
So now that
I'm
question
a vet. I'm 31.
I'm sure starting to come up more.
Yeah,
and more.
my wife asked me. It's like I would give it a few years. I don't want to really put like a specific number on it, but I'm gonna give it a few years because I still love the game. Like, I love the evolvement of the game. Like, I love that it's a player's game now. Like, it ain't really controlled by the outsiders or people who don't know basketball as much. But I'm enjoying the game. So I love the game still. I think once I wake up and be like, I don't want to play basketball no more, I think that's when I'll let that be known before I retire for sure. I'm not just gonna wake up in the middle of the season and be like, oh, I'm gonna quit. Like, but definitely a few more years for sure. Yeah.
If you could give one piece of advice to a young hooper that's listening to this, what would it be?
I would say just keep working. Never get too high, never get too low. Always expect adversity. It's gonna always be some type of adversity from anything, whether it's on the court, whether it's off the court. That's just how life doesn't stop because you're a superstar. It's always going to be something that's going on in life. So I will always just tell them to prepare for that, but also to prepare to overcome too. So just always just stay ready. Like, you never know when the opportunity will take place for them. Just stay ready, keep working, stay positive.
I appreciate you sharing all the insight and your experiences.
Yeah.
For those that are interested in learning more about you or following your journey more, where can they find you?
You can find me at Javontae Hawkins _23 on Instagram. I don't have Twitter, but I also have a brand, The Uncomfortable Grind. A lot of new things I'm gonna start doing. I'm gonna start getting into the skills work like you do. So I'm gonna start doing those things, and also I'm gonna start collaborating with like my PT guys at the basketball doctors, and because they are phenomenal. Like, what they did for me, and even now rehabbing, is not as much of a major injury as I had 5 years ago, but just being with them and knowing, like, getting to learn my body more and more each year, I think that's important for young hoopers because, like you said, we both been through injuries. We just never know, like, what can take place or what we're doing that can cause an injury and what we can do that can prevent it. So with the basketball doctors, those are, like, my guys that I'm going to collaborate with when it comes to, like, skill work when I'm done hooping.
I love that. I didn't know that you were interested in sort of being on the skill development side.
It's like coaching and skill development. I want to do both. Like, I even went to, like, a UC Irvine game the other day, the NIT game, because my coach is the assistant coach there now. And just watching it, like I can see myself, like, being a coach. I can see myself, just helping players out. Like, even if it's just whispering something in their ears, like, motivating them. Like, you got this. Like, you 0 for 5, but you 5 for 5 the next 5 shots. So it's like I like to do that because sometimes I didn't have that every year, like being overseas or being in college or growing up, but like I've had like I want to be that consistent mentor, not that mentor that's here for just this moment or that if you ain't talked to me in a year, you can't call me. Like I want to be that. Like my line is always open type mentor to anybody, like because I just feel like it'll help, because some of these kids don't have any solid direction.
I love that. And outside of you having a great basketball mind, I've seen the way you've mentored a lot of the players that I train. So I'm excited and looking forward to that. When that time comes, no rush.
For sure.
But thank you again for joining.
No problem. Thank you.
And I appreciate you stopping by.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
No doubt.